What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 106 of Two Dudes of Sports News. As always, my name's Garrett, and here with my co-host.
What it do? What it do? This is Jalen Prince, and I'm glad to be here. Glad to be here. I am Jalen Prince, and I am with my co-host Garrett. No longer Garrett Goldman. He has reached the status of not using his
We,
last name,
we've
just
been
first
doing this
name.
106 episodes, and you just now realized I never did my full name.
Yes. I now bow down to your greatness at this point.
Well, come on now.
You done reached to the point of you are just Garrett. You're one word now. It is no longer two.
I see the cookout drink. All right.
Shoot, this one yesterday. I just put it in the fridge to be able to say the ice.
Do what you got to do. That's a good ice too.
Thanks.
Anyways, we got a few things to catch up on this week. We haven't done an episode since we had Heavy on and we did the pre-Super Bowl situation.
Yep, and it's been about 2 weeks since
it's been about 2 weeks.
Super Bowl.
I've been busy. You've been busy. We've been trying to get it figured out. We finally did. Yeah. So let's do some catching up, man.
Yeah, but first things first, we appreciate everybody that does tune in, whether it's live or whether it's pre-recorded. Obviously, you can find us on Twitter at Tdsn Pod, at Tdsn Pod. Find us on TikTok at TDSN _pod, and you can follow us on our YouTube page on Two Dudes with Sports News on YouTube.
If you check that one out, I can't remember if it's Two Dudes of Sports News or TDSN Pod on that one too. But regardless, or whatever it is, if you type in Two Dudes of Sports News on YouTube, you'll find it. Like it's not
either way.
That was pretty easy. There's one, and it's us. So yeah, we got some catching up to do. We can react to the Super Bowl finally. We're gonna go ahead and go over a few things, kind of give you a brief run of what we're gonna get into. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl. We're going to talk about the Four Nations tournament. We're going to talk about the NBA All-Star game. And there's a reason I'm in all my Jaguars gear is because we finally have.
You're finally you're finally in good spirits. No more. Hopefully, no more therapy sessions.
I haven't. There's gonna be. We're still terrible, but now we're not terrible. But to me, this is one of the guys I go back and forth with a lot on Twitter. He made a good point today or yesterday. I'm like genuinely happy this offseason. And that hasn't happened a lot with this team. So like we seem to be finally going in the right direction. We seem to have a situation to where, we have a competent GM who's a rising star. We have a head coach who has proven himself and has been one of the hot commodities. We have really everything we're looking for. Yes, Aaron Duval. For those who don't know, what you can do is you can tune in on YouTube. We have a comment section. Chime in with whatever you want. Love it, hate it, whatever it may be. And if it's within reason, I'll read it out. Aaron, good to see you, man. Thanks for coming on. Yes, we have Mr. Duval himself as our head coach.
Yeah, but
I love that his wife had to come out and say, we're working on it.
Well, we'll get to that a little bit later on.
Yes, we will.
Obviously, we got to recap what happened 2 weeks ago. Football season's finally over. Yep. Free agency's coming up, but we didn't even talk. We haven't had a chance to talk about that game. My bad. Not a game. The beatdown. My bad. Not a beatdown. Not a game. A thrashing. Eagles win the Super Bowl. As I predicted, even though my money was on Mahomes, because you really can't bet against Mahomes unless his backside is on the ground at least about 7 times. Congrats to you. But I'm really happy for Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith, Eli Ricks, Landon Dickerson, Tyler Steen, basically all the Bama boys. I'm happy for. There's a lot of different things that transpired within this game. First thing first, you gotta mention the defense. To beat Patrick Mahomes, you cannot make it close. You have to beat the crap out of him. Ask Tom Brady in Tampa Bay. You have to get him down. And Kansas City's offensive line woes finally caught up to him when they go up against a really good pass rush. Excuse me. Go ahead and talk.
I saw it coming. I'm with you, man. So like, the only 2 Super Bowls Patrick Mahomes has lost and the Chiefs have lost is due to them getting an insane amount of pressure on Mahomes. And it shows, at times the weakness of his, I don't want to say the weakness of the team, but that offensive line, I've said it time and time and time and time and time again. On defense, you have two routes you can take.
Yep.
You can either have a disgusting defensive line and front
Yep.
seven, or you can have an incredible secondary.
True. And here's the thing. They had a little bit of both, but mainly it was that front seven. And dog, what did I say throughout that whole process during Super Bowl week?
They
Actually,
did not blitz.
after the NFC.
I
That was
want to
kicker. I said this to begin with. The Eagles were going to beat Kansas City because they don't have to outcoach Andy Reid. You just have to play football. Run your stuff, stick to your identity, and then everything will play its part. If you try to get too cute and try to outcoach Andy Reid, you're going to lose. Now, Andy Reid did not have his guys ready to play. Let's keep it a buck. He did not have them ready to play. And Philly came into play, and they were ready to play the moment they had that introduction at the Super Bowl in New Orleans. When did you see that pre-intro with the Eagles?
I saw, so I didn't see the pre-intro. What I did see was him walking through the hallway, and then saw the picture of him looking at all the pundits picking the Chiefs and him going, okay.
No, I'm not talking about Hurts. I'm talking about when the Philadelphia got introduced.
No, I didn't see that.
Dog, it was crazy about like how loaded Philly packed out the Superdome. Not surprising, but it was amazing, and it really showed out in the game. They were able to get pressure on Mahomes. Obviously, they forced turnovers on Mahomes, and especially
without blitzing. By the way, they only rush 4, which is disgusting.
And that's how you beat Mahomes. The more you got out in coverage and you're able to get pressure on Mahomes with just 4 or 3, you got a good chance of beating them, and they dominate them. But here's the real thing, and I really want to get into this early now.
Okay.
How many times have we heard from mainstream media, casuals, Twitter spaces, whatever? If you stop Barkley, and make Hurts try to beat you, you'll win the game. You'll beat the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
What happened?
They stopped Barkley, and Hurts said, don't worry, I got it.
MVP.
Yeah. Aaron makes a good point. Aaron says in the comments, Vic Fangio is finally a defensive coordinator who knows what he's doing. Haven't had one of those in like 15 years. For those of you who don't know, Aaron is an Eagles fan.
Respect Aaron.
Yeah, absolutely. But I agree. You guys have a competent defensive coordinator. Curious to see what you guys do with OC now that Kellen Moore is the head coach of the Saints.
Well, they already hired a guy. They promoted the passing game coordinator over to the OC.
That's right.
Hopefully it's not a mistake like they did with Brian Johnson over the years, but that's neither here nor there. I think about this. Jalen Hurts about to go through his fifth different offensive coordinator in like 5 years. Think about that. He's about to go through 5 OCs in 5 years.
Is it 5 in 5 years? I feel like it's less.
I think it's 5 and 5.
It's 5 and 5 or 4 and 5. It's something like that.
It might be 4. It might be 3, maybe 4. Let's see. Shanks. Let's see. I think it's
more than 2, less than 6.
Yeah, but dog, he hasn't gone. He hasn't gone like 2 seasons with the same OC in a long time.
Yeah,
even dating back into college.
Mm-hmm. To be fair, one of those years is on him.
What you mean?
When he transferred?
Still, he went through a different OC.
I'm just saying, one of those is on him.
But anyway, no, you think about this. He did all that, overcome so much scrutiny and criticism. But everybody said like it's just Barkley and the defense. Well, Barkley did not have the big game. Hurts did. Fed AJ, fed Smitty on the dagger route, hit Jahan Dotson, hit Dallas Goedert, and when it came to key first downs, he was the difference maker because he used his legs. And even when they blitz, because everybody say like Spags is gonna confuse him. Nah, he read them right. After that interception. He said, all right, let me go to work.
That OPI on that first drive was one of the weakest OPIs I've ever seen.
And we thought that was going to be the beginning.
Here's the thing. I will, for the Chiefs fans who are listening to this, because my buddy is a huge Chiefs fan, kind of the point him and I were talking about, this happens in the NBA all the time. This happens in the NFL. This happens quite a bit. Refs have a get back type call.
True.
So that OPI was awful. should not have been called. And within the next drive, I think McDuffie got called for like a unnecessary roughness on a weak call on that front. So it's like, okay, that's the ref saying, hey, we messed up. Here's your get back. We're back at 0.
Yeah.
It's like, we're back at 0. We're not worried about it.
Yeah.
So, Jalen, you brought this up the other day. So there's 2 questions after this game. And we kind of talked about it a bit back when we had Heavy on the last episode. And it's now that the Chiefs have won the Super Bowl, is Jalen Hurts in the top 5 conversation?
He should be. He definitely should be. Obviously, everybody's going to look at the stats. Some people can't look over the fact that he was a 2nd round draft pick. Because
Brady
when
was
you
a
think about the
6.
top,
Position doesn't matter to me.
It doesn't matter to me, but a lot of those casuals are still going to look at that. They can't see, they can't fathom the fact that he is like can be a top 5 when you look at like Mahomes, Lamar, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, that instance. But all those guys that I just mentioned, Hurts has beat him. And we're going to hear the same narrative. He's playing with a stacked team. I know another guy that a lot of people were clamoring that he was going to be, that he should be in the top 5 conversation, and went up against Mahomes in the Super Bowl, and he didn't get it done.
Oh, Purdy?
Yeah.
Purdy's not top 5.
And I know he's not top 5.
I was about to say, there's a lot of Niners fans that tell you the same
thing. But here's the thing. We've seen some quarterbacks have loaded talent, top 5, top 2, whatever you want to say. They've had talent everywhere around you, and you can't get the job done. Hurts got the job done. And he was one of the main reasons. He ain't got to be the main reasons. He had to be one of the main reasons. That's fair. They was able to get it done. Mahomes was, a lot of folks are going to say he's the main reason why they won all the Super Bowls. That's not entirely true. He was a big reason they won the Super Bowl, but not the main reason on a certain instance, but we're not going to get into too much details about that. Hurts handled his business. He did the job. They didn't need him to throw too much, but we keep falling in love. And by I'm talking about the casual sports fan and mainstream media. We fall in love with all these stats and stuff that it blinds us from the ultimate goal, and that's to win. And that's to win the darn games.
Right.
The guy that everybody clamors that gets more credit for getting to the Super Bowl been in Cancun the last 2 years. The other guy that just got his MVP and got his Joel Embiid MVP can't never beat the guy that Jalen Hurts is beating. And the same thing goes for the guy that probably should have been a 3-time MVP.
Do we still have that picture up there?
Too. Oh, and he's beating the other, and he beating the guy with the Joel MVP, and he beat him in a storm, in prime time, in a shootout. And he didn't have Saquon at that time. So a lot of people are going to dislike the Eagles because a lot of people don't like the Eagles. A lot of people hate the brotherly shove. They think it's gimmicky. Heck,
stop it.
Works.
Stop it. That's all I say.
It works.
Stop it.
That's number 2. Here's the third thing. Jalen Hurts is never going to shy away from who the heck he is. He's never going to fall away from his identity. And that's one thing I will always respect. It ain't because he's just it ain't just because he's built by Bama and he's built by Oklahoma. Dude knows who he is, and he's confident in who he is. And it spreads around Philadelphia. The Eagles organization, their GM, their owner, their coach, they know who they are. The whole team knows who they are. They will never shy away from it. People will try to get them to try to do something different, be cute. No. They follow their identity. They know who they are.
I think Hurts to put a bow on this. Hurts is in the top 5. I think Hurts is 5. I think right now the way the top 5 goes, it goes Mahomes, Burrow because he beat Mahomes, Josh, Lamar, Hurts.
I would go.
That's my top 5.
I would go Mahomes, Lamar,
because we will talk about
I will go Mahomes, Lamar, Allen, Hurts, Burrow.
But we want to talk about Burrow had a tremendous
Burrow had a tremendous season last year. If he would have made the playoffs, would have been an MVP. We
But you
understand that.
and here's
But
my thing. Go ahead. Sorry.
I get the context of his line was bad and his defense was god awful. We understand that. But you can only control what you can control. And after Burrow made the Super Bowl, he ain't beat Mahomes since. And
Because he got hurt the
Mahomes is
year
the
after.
standard. He got hurt. I understand that.
Hmm.
But he was still fine. Like he was hurt the year after, but dude still was able to get to the playoffs.
To
Dude still
me,
went.
and
Dude still went back to the AFC Championship game and didn't get the job done.
the reason why. So you were talking we get the job done. The reason why
Yeah,
I have Burrow above Allen and Lamar and
because
Hurts
they
is
did it,
because
and because he did the one thing that he couldn't do.
yes, it's because
And I
he got the job done.
I understand that as well. But here's the reason. Like I would love for the conversation that Jalen Hurts would be number 2, but I understand that that can't happen yet because you see what Lamar's done in his career, you've seen what Joe Burrow's done in his career, you've seen what Josh Allen has done in his career. Jalen
Josh
Hurts
Allen
is
Embiid.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts is in this conversation because of he's a winner, possibly one of the best winners. He's probably the top 2 winner in the NFL. His leadership and the way he handles just about everything within the NFL. He
Okay.
does not get rattled. He does not get shook, and he knows how to lead this team. You could say Saquon carried him. That's not true. That's not entirely true. Saquon had a great year. That offensive line is tremendous, and they have an identity, and Jalen is part of the identity. But they don't win no Super Bowl. They don't get to the Super Bowl without Jalen Hurts and him being healthy. Because a lot of people don't mention he wasn't healthy last year,
No, I
and
hear
they
you.
were
It's a good point.
confused as well. So to me, he's in that conversation because he ain't got to do too much. He just got to do his job, and he's gonna find ways to win the game for his team.
That's fair. Aaron, if you're not watching this live right now or not, I just want to show you come back to right around the 17, 30-minute mark. This is for you.
By the way, we still love Josh Allen, but I'm sorry, bro. It should have been Lamar.
No, for sure. That's hilarious to me. I love the Josh Allen, Joel Embiid comparisons with his voter fatigue MVP. But yeah, I mean, let's at that point, to the next question, where do the Chiefs go from here? And to
Well,
me, I think
go ahead. You start this one. You start this one.
I'm thinking the Chiefs. I mean, in my opinion, Chiefs need to pay Trey Smith whatever he wants to keep him because he is one of the top 5 free agencies this season. They need to pay him whatever he wants, keep that line together, and get aggressive on offensive line in both the draft and the free agency because it's very clear what their biggest issue was.
Yep.
And it was protecting Mahomes during the big moments.
Yep.
And Andy Reid's not stupid. Spags isn't stupid. These guys know what they need to do. So I think the Chiefs.
The GM's not stupid neither because they had the same problem when they went up against Tampa Bay and they immediately fixed the offensive line.
Yep. So they need to do it again. Also, Aaron, I'm glad you like that picture. That is hilarious.
Here's where I think they go. I don't think they're bringing Trey Smith back, but if I'm them, go get Trent Williams.
I don't think Trent's leaving.
He would leave for Mahomes. He would leave for Mahomes.
That's a good
and
point.
Reid.
That's a good point.
Like he would leave. I think he would leave for that. I think he would leave for that situation. Yeah, I think he would do that. Trent Williams is still the best left tackle in football. They were like the Niners were just injury prone all year. They dealt with a Madden curse all year, so it is what it is on that one. But at the same time, I'm like, you get your quarterback's Mahomes, Mahomes and Purdy. That's eons away. That's an eon comparison. So they need to get Trent Williams. Then they just got to bust her up. Like just keep working on their offensive line during this offseason. That's where they go because they're gonna be back. They're gonna be back.
And that's the
it's
thing.
Still Mahomes' league. It's still his division. It's still his AFC. And they still Andy Reid. He ain't going nowhere. Travis Kelce. That's another conversation for another day. But either way, he still got chemistry with all the other tight ends that he got, including Noah Gray. But you get Rashid Rice back. You get hopefully a healthy Hollywood Brown, and then you get Xavier Worthy, who actually played really good in the Super Bowl,
Hmm.
but he stepped up even bigger during the entire season.
You
So
got D
when you
Hop
look
for
at their
cheap too.
when you still got D Hop for cheap, and possibly who's to stop the Chiefs for getting another receiver coming in the draft or even in free agency.
It's a
So
deep
like
draft for wide receiver.
there's still a lot of time, but I'm not writing off Kansas City off, because like they still got 1-5, they still got Big Red, and they got a lot of talent that's coming back. They just got to they fix the offensive line, and they ain't got to be top 5.
Yeah.
Just be in the top 15. Kansas City gonna be right there, and they're gonna be like most likely they'll be in San Fran.
No, for sure. And it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. But I mean, the Chiefs are going to be the Chiefs. That's always the thing. Like, we don't need to worry about that. Anybody who's acting like the Chiefs' reign of terror is over, like, no, they just didn't three-peat, but they're going to be back in the playoffs again. So now, will it have some of these free agents or not? I don't know. But we're not. You're gonna have to wait next week for your first installment of this off season's If I Were the GM.
If I were the GM, but I will
So
save it for next week.
yeah, we'll save that for next week. But we want to talk about the top 5-ish free agents. I snuck a 6th one in there just because there's a very good chance T. Higgins ends up signing a franchise tag. So right now, according to PFF, the top 5 free agents, well, top 6 are going to be T. Higgins, Trey Smith, Javon Holland, Chris Godwin, Khalil Mack, and DJ Reed. So I don't see Trey Smith leaving Kansas City.
I do, and I'm hoping for it, but I'm like, that's just a fan of me. But
I do too.
I don't think they're bringing him back.
I'd love to see him in the black and teal.
I would love to see him in the blue and neon.
The highlighter and highlighter. T. Higgins is getting tagged. Javon Holland, I think, is going to command a nice franchise tag, but I think what's hurting him a little bit is Trevor Mooring. The Raiders safety is looking to get paid this offseason because he had a great year this year, and I think he's going to try to capitalize on that. So I feel like that hurts Javon Holland's value a little bit, not too much, but a little bit. But then you've got Khalil Mack is going to, Khalil Mack's going ring chasing, and I can't fault him for that. I could see Khalil, or he's just taking another payday.
I think it's going to be he wants to win. He wants to win.
Chris Godwin's getting paid solely because Tampa Bay will die if we lose, or if Tampa loses another Buccaneers player to potentially the Jaguars.
Well, here's like the thing with Chris Godwin. It's an interesting one. I think he's either what is he going for his first big contract, or he's going to try to go to a contender as well.
Second big contract, I think. So he
All right,
got
then
paid a
he's
couple
probably
years
going to
ago.
go for a contender.
Yeah, so
He
he's
probably
going
might
for a
go to-
contender, or he's going for someone who there's two. If we go, I don't want to get full into If I Were the GM mode, but if the Jaguars go wide receiver in this free agency period, I could see Cooper Kupp solely because of the connection with Gladstone, or I could see Chris Godwin because of the connection with Mr. Duval himself.
Liam Cohen.
Yes.
Okay, I get where you're going with that one, and we'll say the rest of your drag talk a little bit later on the show.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
But I don't know where Chris Godwin is going. I actually want to talk more on like why Tampa Bay probably won't bring him back.
They'll bring him back.
Not because of the money. I think it's more so along the lines of you look at the receivers that stepped up when he was out. Let's see. I think McMillan, Sterling Shepard had a resurgence, but he got a chemistry with Baker. Obviously, Mike Evans is Mike Evans. He's been one of the top 5, top 10 receivers in football for a long time. Probably one of the most underrated, and he's a champion. Who else? Who else stepped up? Cade Otton. Cade Otton. Yeah, he stepped up big. I think it was a top 10 tight end, top 5 tight end this year. At least he should have been, but
he's top 10. I don't know if he was top 5.
There was a lot. I saw a lot of guys for Tampa Bay that stepped up at a receiver position, and I'm like, you got to think Chris Godwin. He is getting up there in age, and he's been seen as injury prone as of late. So I can see them moving. I definitely can see him not coming back and possibly moving on. Nothing against him. Is just when you actually saw a lot of your players step up and take over some of the reins that you were out. That makes your team a lot more comfortable to move on.
And that's That's a fair point, but the reason why I don't think it happens is because if he does leave, the odds of them losing him to us is going to probably force them to overpay Godwin.
True, and I'm thinking about, like, to
Because
me,
he would
his
he'd be
best
second fiddle to
destinations.
BTJ down here too.
Well, he's a slot guy that is big on third downs, and definitely pretty good in the red zone. Like, he's been a good receiver. He's been a really good receiver for a long time. So if I had to, like, guess, his best places probably would be, you could say Jacksonville. I would say Carolina. Um,
Carolina's not bad. Carolina's got money too.
Carolina's not a bad spot. Like,
Carolina have cap space.
you just gotta you gotta help out, like, Bryce Young. You gotta get him some weapons, and Chris Godwin would be a nice addition to it. Um, I can see the Rams. They're moving.
Panthers got 28 million cap. They could afford
That's
him.
true. That's true. They could afford him. Maybe if he want to take a shot, he could go to the Raiders. They don't even have a wide receiver 1 or 2. So, like, that'd be a good spot.
Yeah,
There's a
that's
lot of
valid.
options with Chris Godwin. Oh, now
Depends on
Khalil
if he
Mack.
wants to get paid or go compete.
Mack is he's an interesting one. Because if he's gonna go ring chasing, he's got to go to a contender. I can see Buffalo being a destination. Um,
I
he
can
wouldn't
see
go to
Cincinnati.
he wouldn't go to Kansas City.
I can see Cincinnati.
Uh,
They need help on defense.
yeah.
I
I
can
can
see
see that.
Cincinnati.
Yeah, I can too.
I can't see Baltimore. I can't see because if it is contender,
I can see Baltimore, but I don't think they'll, like, try to go get him. Like,
no, I don't
money
think they're gonna go
wise.
try to get him. He's not going to Dallas because we said contender.
Yep.
He
He could go to Philly. I
he
mean,
could go to.
if Philly don't get Myles Garrett, like, he could go to Philly.
I don't see him going to Philly.
Yep. But anyway, what else we got?
DJ Reed, where do you think he's going?
Probably back to the Jets. Then
I think he's going
again,
back to the Jets. His
I
man can
mean,
get paid.
I would like, you're about to have a new head coach, so you got Aaron Glenn. He knows what he knew. Oh, Khalil Mack to the Lions. That could be interesting.
Khalil Mack to the Lions, it makes sense. DJ Reed to the Lions, it makes sense too.
Yep.
So
Like,
I don't know.
you gotta keep your secondary improving.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
There's a couple options we can go with that, but we can talk speculation all day. It is time to touch on the last piece of NFL news. James Gladstone, you are a Jacksonville Jaguar. So, James Gladstone, for those who don't know, is not James Gladstone, MD, or anything else when you Google. He is the former Rams director of scouting strategy, and he has been for the past 3 seasons. Spent 9 seasons with the franchise, was the Rams director of scouting in 2021 and the director of scouting strategy 2019 through 2020. He also served as the Rams senior assistant to the general manager and sort of that player, personnel type role in 2018. So he's also served as the senior assistant to the general manager with the Rams in 2016 through 2017. And with the Jaguars, head coach Liam Cohen working as an assistant with him or during his time with the Rams in 2018 through 2020 and in 2022. So there's the connection there. What I've noticed with, and I kind of saw where some of this was going. I have no sources, would love a source one day. But kind of where we're at with this on my side of things, the way it's worked for the Jags is whoever has the last interview tends to get the job. So when we all found out that James Gladstone's was the last interview, we all kind of knew. So from early reports, this was Ian Cunningham's job to lose. He apparently bombed the second in-person interview. James Gladstone is he's supposed to be the wonder kid, basically one of the youngest GMs, I think. And he is absolutely, he's handled scouting stuff. Everybody in the Rams organization speaks incredibly highly of him. And I'm happy he's the GM. I'm excited to kind of see what our moves in the free agency are. Now, I have a question for Bears fans. Why are y'all in our conversations?
As far as what?
Dude, Bears fans have been coming out of the woodwork chirping at Jags fans for no reason. Like, y'all also didn't just win 5 games. Like, yeah, we won 4.
But why are they coming at y'all?
That's what I'm asking. Why are you here? Why are you in our threads and comment sections? Why are you coming? Like, Buccaneers fans, I get. Why are Bears fans coming at me? You haven't had a 4,000-yard passer in 125 years as a team. That's a fact. Like, what? Come on now. Why are you coming to me? Why are you coming to me? Why are you coming to fans? Leave us alone. But I'm happy with the signing. I'm happy to see where things go. I haven't been this happy for a Jags offseason in a while. I'm excited. Like, people, you can go back to the Trevor Lawrence pick, which was great, but also we had that bum Urban Meyer as our head coach. Peterson, we had an okay time, and then I haven't been this excited about an offseason in a very long time. Things are going uncharacteristically well for the Jaguars, and I'm happy to be on board. It seems that Shad has said, you know what? Screw it. Let's pull out all the stops and see what happens. So, yeah, I'm excited. I like the signing. Oh, yeah, and Aaron is saying Ben Johnson is already chirping the Packers. Guy hasn't coached a game yet as the man in charge. And then, yeah.
I can respect him doing that, though.
And you're right. I can respect.
I can respect that. You're look, he understands, okay, I'm a Chicago Bear. Who do the Bears hate the most? That's Green Bay. I can respect. You're trying to win over the fan base.
I respect it, but it's also kind of hacky. It's like when the comedian finds out where the worst part of town is and just has that one joke that they change every single time. It just inserts a different part of town into it.
I get you. I get you where you're going, but here's the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I look at it like you're trying.
I
to
see what he's trying to do.
Yes, and it's working. So like, I'm not gonna knock that. You just got to go back it up.
More for me, it's why are Bears fans coming at us? We've never had beef with you.
Here's another thing. You kind of want this in the NFL, or else you're gonna be doing to be in the NBA.
No, that's a fair point.
And not encourage rivalries.
Yeah, no. I mean, since we're talking NBA, there was some NBA news. The NBA All-Star Weekend happened, but it was vastly overshadowed.
Dunk contest was solid.
Dunk contest was great.
3-point contest was, good.
But All-Star Weekend, in my opinion, was absolutely outshadowed by the Four Nations hockey tournament.
Hey, man, first off,
I love it.
I get hockey is for everybody, but let's keep it a buck. I'm from Southeast Georgia. We don't know. I don't know nothing about no hockey. Like they just got hockey in Savannah.
But did you watch it and did you like it?
Oh yeah, without question. Yes.
Hockey is so like. Listen, my girlfriend doesn't really like football, basketball, any of it, but she likes hockey. Hockey is one of those sports where it's fast paced, it's exciting. It takes you 2 minutes to pick up on the rules, and it's constantly moving. So it's one of those things
and that's what I can respect, and that's what I totally respect.
So, but I love the fact that if anything was going to force the NBA to change the All-Star Weekend format, it wasn't Wemby and Chris Paul trying to cheat their way through the skills contest. No. It wasn't Mac McClung winning the dunk contest for the 3rd year in a row. He's apparently won more money from the dunk contest than any of his NBA contracts. So it wasn't that. It wasn't a 3-point contest. It wasn't didn't Dame lose to a kid from Mr. Beast or something like that or whatever it was? Like it wasn't that. It was the fact that no disrespect towards hockey, but in viewership rate or in ratings for the United States, hockey is nowhere near the NFL, MLB, and NBA in no particular order. It doesn't touch it. But the fact that on All-Star Weekend, was arguably probably the second biggest weekend for the NBA, it got outshined by the Four Nations hockey tournament for the NHL, which from everything I've been able to find out isn't like it's not a big deal, but it's not, it's not the World Cup or, it's not anything like, it's not a national. Excuse my language, might be talking out of my ass here a little bit, but it's not like world championships or anything like that. Like it's a fun in-season tournament that dominated headlines. And I'm here for it, man. Hockey's fun. Hockey's fun. Love it or hate it, hockey's fun to watch. And it does. You got beef, drop the gloves, we'll talk about it.
Facts, and that's one thing I love. But the NBA wouldn't do anything like that. But here's how
No, I'm not asking to fight
we talked
people.
about this a lot. Like we talked about this a lot, primarily when it comes to just fixing All-Star Weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You got to find a way to be able to get the players to care. Either that's with incentives, by more money, because obviously that's what they want the most, or something else. I
You and
would
me fixed
love
this 2 years ago.
true, but looking at the format with the Four Nations tournament, I would love for the NBA to like NBA All-Star game to be USA versus world, because you look at the best players in the league, they're from the world. They're not American.
Yeah,
So
that's a good
like
point.
I would love to see that. And plus, like, they would have to care, because if you don't, you will get crucified by your peers. And like it won't, like, pride was set in on that one, because you got to look at how the Olympics turned out.
And that's the exact reason why I think so. To kind of update you on the idea Jalen and I had a couple of years ago, I am perfectly fine with an 8 to 12 team 3v3 tournament. Not pick your team in full capacity, not like what they do with the All-Star break now. I want East Coast versus West Coast again.
Yep.
That way there's some pride on it. I want East Coast versus West Coast, Eastern Conference versus Western Conference, and you pick your best. You have the top 8 players on each side. So we'll call it a 16-team thing.
Okay.
Top 8 players on each side pick their team for 3v3 with one alternate. And then you do it that way. And then there's actual elimination, there's seeding, there's standing, there's all this. And it's a little bit of extra work, sure. But if you really care about brand dollars and you really care about investment and eyes on the game and eyes on the TV and that big old TV revenue check, that's what you do. I mean, because you already got rid of you already got rid of the best version. You already got rid of TNT.
Yeah.
You already got rid of Ernie, Chuck, Shaq, and Kenny, which I don't know why you do that.
Like, you lost TNT, but you're still gonna have the crew like for next year, I think.
I hope so, man. They're one of the best parts of the NBA. I mean, it's
literally. Say what you want about it. But anyway, let's move on. What else we got?
That's pretty much all I had to get into, man. Unless you had something else that I missed.
I can't think of nothing. I mean, baseball season's almost here.
Yeah, baseball season's here.
College baseball started. We doing a bracket for March Madness, because that's almost
we'll do a bracket for March Madness. Why not?
All right,
we'll do one. We usually do it, so might as well. I mean, that didn't hurt. The cat has entered the room.
I'll ask you this: like, how's the off season going for your Gators?
For football?
Yes.
Billy's still calling the plays. Our OC's gone. We promoted, like, I don't know, our freaking tight ends coach or something. Something stupid. It didn't. I don't know. I think they're really leaning on the fact that Lagway is here, but we'll see. I don't know, man. We've got nothing else you want to get into, man. We can go and close it out a little bit early this time. Sit right about 40 minutes, because I think we went over last time, so we give the people some time back.
Yes, sir.
Let's do it. All right. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you did, if you didn't, you can watch it back later. If you were ever curious, if you got shout outs or interacted with in the comments while we live stream, this episode's proof. We have one of our buddies who we're going to shout out in a little bit. Come in, chime in, and you interact with the comments as you go. It's fun. It's something else to add to it, and it makes the show different every single time. If you like the show, let us know. Rate 5 stars, whatever platform you listen to. Doesn't matter to me which one it is. If we're not on it, let us know. Follow us on Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, at Tdsn Pod, 2 Deuces Sports News. If you type in either one of those, you'll find it. If you didn't like the show, here's what I want you to do. I want you to treat it like a bad date. You go your way, we'll go ours. We appreciate the time. We gave you about 40-ish minutes of content. We're not going to be able to give it back to you, but we'll pick up the tab for the content and the time, and we thank you for giving us a shot. If you do rate 5 stars, if you do retweet the show, if you do share it with all your friends, you get a shout-out. The other way to get a shout-out to the show is obviously interact in the comments or be a show that we like, and we think that if we like them, we think you'll like them too, especially if you like our show. So, as always, shout-outs to the end of the show to end it. Jim, we're a fan of the van. Him and I are finally getting back on Steel and Teal the next couple of days, so that is coming back. Brandon over 1420 Sports. Aaron, obviously, at Brutally Honest Sports. Darren over Chill Takes, guys at IAP Radio. E-Man over at Average Joe Sports. Sports After Dark. Always go check out Sports After Dark. Now that the off season's coming around, it's going to be a little bit more interesting. You see a little bit more of the fun streams that they do there over on Playback, and I think they're coming back to Twitter now. I'm not really sure. I'd have to ask Heavy about that. If you're a wrestling fan, casual or hardcore, go check out John for Wrestling Fan Insight. If you're looking to gamble, do it responsibly. Don't bet the rent because rent's coming up. Don't bet the house. No reason to do that. And go listen to Nate's Daily Wager. Thank you. And as always, we'll see you next time.
Peace.